Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out my review. This is actually part two. I did a review the last time on the Tag Heuer Connected, the Generation 3. It's got the WearOS operating system, and I've found it to be a great watch, and it's a great alternative to the Apple Watch. So what I wanted to do in part two is just give you comparisons physically with the platform and just the differences between watchOS with the Apple ecosystem and WearOS with Google, both of them, of course, working with the iPhone. So it's giving you an alternative that if you have an iPhone and have no desire to go into the Android atmosphere, what this does is this will give you an idea on how your iPhone works with both, and it helps you come up with a good decision, whichever platform that you want to go to in regards to the watches. So going over the physical characteristics of both watches, both of them look completely different. Obviously, you have a square or rectangle shape on the Apple Watch, where you have the round face that looks more like a watch on the WearOS or the Tag Heuer. So when you look around the watch, you have the crown. That nice thing about the Apple Watch, I can move the crown on the lower left or the top right, depending on what wrist I wear it on. And then you have the button on the side here. And then on the right side, you have a microphone and speakers. Whereas with the Android, you have the crown that rotates, and you could go through the applications with the crown. And it also has the two buttons on the side. The difference on the crowns between the Apple Watch and the Tag is the Apple Watch crown, when it rotates, you actually feel a tactile feedback, where you're just going to feel the feedback in itself on the Tag Heuer. So they both turn just as smooth, but this one's got a little extra technology into the crown itself. On the back of the watch, you're going to see that both of them have heart rate monitors. The difference is the Apple Watch actually has that silver ring around it that works as a one of the suctions that they use for an ECG. So it actually measures your echocardiogram, where with the Tag Heuer, you're able to just get the heart rate readings throughout the day. Both of them use ceramic on the back, and with the battery life on the Tag Heuer, eventually when the battery dies, it's user replaceable. You can actually access it with the screws on the back, where with the Apple Watch, when it dies, you have to go through Apple to be able to replace the battery or replace the unit itself. You take a look at the Apple Watch today, it pretty much looks exactly like the Apple Watch when it was first released. WearOS is the same thing. When they first came out, all you had available was circular, and it just looks more like a watch than what you're going to get with the Apple Watch. But best way I could put it is, I feel the Apple Watch feels more like a device. The Google Watches feel more like a real watch. Apple Watch width is 38 millimeters. The height is 44 millimeters. And thickness is 10.7 millimeters, and it's 47.9 grams. Whereas the Tag is 45 millimeters wide, 46 millimeters high, and 13.5 millimeters thick, and 117 grams. So you're talking more than twice the weight of the Apple Watch. Both of them feature OLED with Sapphire screens and displays. You have the Apple resolution is 448 by 368, where the Tag resolution is 454 by 454. You could look, the resolution on this watch is extremely high, and I'm just going to give you an example here. The watch face that I've been typically sticking with is this one, and, sometimes you almost mistake it for being a real watch. The screen is that vibrant. Both of them have really good processing speed, 64-bit dual-core S5 chip, 32 gigabytes of storage, and 1 gigabyte RAM on the Apple Watch. The Tag has a Qualcomm Snapdragon Wear 31, 8 gigabyte of storage, 1 gigabyte of RAM. So both of them are very capable, and both of them, as you'll see the demonstration, both of them, they function extremely well. Screens are very responsive. They work like they should, which is good. The differences are going to be in the features. Let me get into the straps. The Apple Watch strap is fairly easy to replace. All you got to do in this particular case, and I'll show you while I'm at it, I typically use the link bracelet. So first of all, the bracelet is a lot easier to adjust on this one than the Tag. So for instance, I push one of the buttons in here, and what happens is when I push that button, the link comes out. So what that allows me to do, so this way I'm not scratching anything up, is I push the little button over here, strap comes out, push the button over here, strap comes out, put this one right through the chute. So you'll see like there's a little slot there. So I just run this through the slot. It holds. Put this through the slot. It holds. And that's as easy as it is to change the straps. So with the Apple Watch, extremely easy. Very functional. I would say the Tag is actually almost easier to do it than the Apple Watch. It's really easy to do actually. So what I do is I open up the clasp over here and you're going to see a little notch right over next to the lug. I'll show you as close as I can. So what I do is I just pull that notch aside. I'll feel the resistance and then it just comes right out. So it's easier to show you when the watch is open. So once again, I just have to put this little to the side and then it comes right out. So really easy to do. And then to put the straps on here, there's a little notch over here. So all I have to do is pull the little notch, put it into the lug, and it holds tight. Same thing with this. Put it on the side. And it's that easy to change over to the rubber. All right, so one other thing about the straps is you're going to find that the Apple Watch, it's got a huge aftermarket, and Apple sells a ton of these, along with their own proprietary ones. When you're dealing with the Tag right now, there's not really a lot of selection to go with. You can pretty much have multiple colors that come in with the rubber. And then, of course, if you only bought the watch on the rubber, you could purchase the bracelet. But the choices are really nice with what they do have. I hope that there is some aftermarket that comes with this, if this is as successful as I think it's going to be. If not, I hope that Tag just puts out more. In regards to battery life, they're both rated for a day or two. You're going to find that you're going to get a true solid day and a half when it comes to the Apple Watch. It's a lot more efficient with the battery. When you're dealing with the Tag Heuer and Wear, it's not as efficient. So I do find that there are certain settings that I could play around with. For instance, turning off always on display, turning off the tilt feature tends to save some battery life. Those are the little things that you're able to do, but the Apple Watch does win as far as the battery life goes. Regarding notifications, I have to tell you the Android wins as far as the speed. If I feel it vibrate on my belt, which is where I keep my iPhone, the second I hear that, feel it on my wrist with the Tag. With the Apple Watch, I tend to get a little bit of a delay, but I do get a lot more notifications with the Apple Watch, meaning I'll tend to get reminders to do the breathe exercises, to stand. I'll get notifications that a friend of mine is doing good on their fitness app if I have some kind of a competition going. So I'll find that there's a lot more notifications that come up on the Apple Watch. Plus, I'm able to respond on the Apple Watch. I am unable to respond on the Tag. So when a notification comes through, I could either speak it or I could write it or draw it on my Apple Watch. Whereas with the Tag, I could basically read the notification and that's pretty much where it ends. Regarding how I get the notifications, I do find that the Tag has a more effective tap when it comes to the wrist, the feeling that you get on the wrist, the vibration. It's just one tap as if you're taking your finger and actually tapping your wrist, whereas with the Tag, it's going to vibrate a little bit. I can set the vibrations to be a little longer, two vibrations, but I do tend to find that the Apple Watch vibration is a little bit less intrusive, but both of them are just as good as the other. In regards to the connections, what I find is that the Tag is going to stay connected with my iPhone. So it's going to primarily prioritize Bluetooth as the way that it's going to communicate with the iPhone. If a notification comes through and I need to get access into something that's more network heavy, it'll automatically switch over to Wi-Fi, and that's the priority that they will take. Where the Apple Watch, it prioritizes Wi-Fi, so it remembers the network that I'm on, and it'll typically stay on the Wi-Fi if I'm in my house or in a Wi-Fi network, and then when I'm out of the house, then it goes over to the Bluetooth and pairs up with the iPhone. So I think that that might be more battery related. I think that the Apple Watch handles Wi-Fi a lot more efficiently, whereas with the Tag, it doesn't handle the speed of the Wi-Fi as efficiently, and that's why the battery life tends to go a little bit quicker than the Apple Watch. Regarding the faces on both, Android, you can design watch faces through third-party. Apple Watch, you can configure what they give you and you can personalize what you have. So I can come up with my own watch faces from my photo gallery. However, I cannot go to a separate website or a separate application and design a watch face from there. I have to wait for new versions of the operating system to come out to be able to play around with the watch faces that they give you. With the Tag, you're able to, and I'm going to go into it in the third part of this video that's going to go more over WearOS, but basically I'm able to download different watch faces, create different watch faces, so there's a lot more flexibility when it comes to that. What I do find though, and this is probably why the Apple Watch gives you less flexibility, is it tends to slow the system down and it takes up more battery life when I use third-party watch faces versus just using what's on board. So there's a application called Watchmaker that I downloaded it. I played with it for a while. I found that I was not getting what I wanted out of it regarding performance, and I deleted it. And I haven't really missed it, to be honest. I think the watch faces that are offered, particularly with Tag Heuer, are just fine. Now, going back and forth between watch faces, I'm going to enter them the same exact way. So I would push hard into the Apple Watch, or I could push the center of the Android watch, and I could decide what face I'm going to use on either one, so I can go back and forth. And then both of them have a little customize feature on the bottom, and on both of them I can customize them in different ways depending on the face that I use. All right, so you'll see that changing the watch faces is pretty much the same type of a setup. First of all, if I just wanted to change from one to the next, I could just skip it over from left to right. And if I wanted to configure one, both of them you can configure different ways on different screens. So for instance, if I wanted to go into this basic one here, I push it down, I press to customize, and I could change each complication to what I want it to be. So on this one, I could change the date or turn it off. I can go down here and I can make it the weather. I could change it over to the wind conditions. I can go up here and change each one as I go through the options. And then what I do is I could skip over and I could change the color of the second hand. Skip over and I could change the color or the type of face that it's going to show me. Once I'm done, push it down, and that's my face. And the same thing with the modular ones. I could change the information I'm going to see on the screen. So on the Tag Heuer watch, the way I'm going to change my watch faces is by pushing them around, and that's how I'm able to go left and right on what I want to do. I could add a watch face and configure it. And I just press the little gear here, and I could change the color. I'm good with the gear. It's saved. Go back in, and I have the choice. For instance, with carbon, I press it, it tells me my steps. I press it, it shows me the time. And if I can go in and configure, same type of a thing. I could choose my color. I go down, I could choose the style of time, and then it's saved. And then for complications, the best one is this special Tag Heuer Carrera type of a face. I go in and I could change the color of the background. I could change the indexes. I could change the hand colors. And then I could change my complications. And this one has the most amount of complications. So I can go in and I could do the 3 subdials. And then at the very top here, I could just put my agenda so my upcoming dates will show up in there. So faces are really easy to navigate through, really easy to work with. But like I said earlier, the Tag Heuer has a lot more choices on the type of watch faces I'm going to use than the Apple. The Apple, I'm going to have what's in there, what's on board. With this, I could put aftermarket faces. The funny thing that I find with both watches is they try to catch up with each other on different areas. You're always able to get into the Google Play service on the Tag Heuer or the WearOS, whereas the Apple Store, they just finally released it recently. I personally think that the Apple Store at some point is going to allow us to customize watch faces through third-party applications, or let us just purchase watch faces through third-party. And I think once they do that, this watch is going to become a lot more flexibility, and I think that I would probably wear it a little bit more. Working with the Apple Watch, to get into the applications, you just push the crown, and then what you're able to do is you can either use the crown to move it, you can use your finger to move it, and then there's two views that you could play around with when it comes to the Apple Watch. You just push in, and you can get the grid view, and you can work around with the grid. You can increase the size of the grid, or decrease the size of it, or if you wanted to go back to a list view, push it hard, press the list view, and this gives you the applications that you have. Now, when I'm getting into the apps on the Tag, what I would do is press the crown the same exact way, and I can either go back and forth on the crown, I could use my fingers, and then I have an additional feature here, and I can't go into a grid view. The view is going to be the same, but if I wanted to move other apps up, so for instance, my alarm, all I have to press it, and it's going to move it up to the top, and it's going to keep it on the top for me. So this way, anytime I want to go in there, I'll have my recent applications, and then I'll have my favorite applications above that. So if I want to go down here and I find that the settings are my favorite application, I hold on to it, and it brings it up to the top for me. All right, so that's my comparison between the Apple Watch and WatchOS and the Tag Heuer Connected and WearOS. I'm going to try to obtain some different watches along the lines. This completes part 2, particularly of the Tag Heuer watch, but I'm actually going to put together a part 3 that's going to go over more information in regards to Google's WearOS. I'm going to give a detailed, thorough walkthrough on the operating system. There's a lot to know, and like I said earlier in the video, I'm really quite surprised at the lack of content that's available out there, not just on the marketing level, but the instructional level. There's just not a lot out there. So I'm going to go through a detailed walkthrough on this. I'm going to try to do detailed walkthroughs on future smartwatches as well. I'm going to start making this a little bit more of a section on my channel. I'm still going to mix in a lot of different G-Shocks and different types of watches, but I'm going to start doing a little bit more focus on smartwatches as well. So as always, please like this video if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't. Please subscribe. I'm also to be found on Twitter, which is at DougFNJ. You can go to Watch You Seek. It's a great website where you can go for great discussion. I'm actually the moderator on both the Apple Watch and the Tag Heuer section on the website. Great discussion, great people, great group. And I'm also on a couple of Facebook groups, and I'm actually going to post their links directly into the details as well. So I want to thank you very much for watching this comparison. I know it's long, it's detailed, but I hope it's a lot of good information. If you have any questions, please add them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. I try to go through all my comments on a daily basis. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.